I'm old enough to remember when, there was not enough offense in the NFL. Mel Kiper screaming, safety should play with their hands behind the back. We're not getting enough points. Woo! I guess the sky's not falling anymore.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell it.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
Streaming live on YouTube.
You're gonna break up with me because of what I do on the radio?
Here's Theo Dorsey.
Good people. Feels so good to be back here in the City Place offices here in West Palm Beach. It's your boy Theo Dorsey back with you on Theoretically Speaking. My guy C-Cat on the other side of the glass on the ones and twos. Holla at your boy. You coming off of 3 wins in Major League Baseball, in college football, and of course your Ravens took care of business against those Commanders in that 1 o'clock slate.
I'm hot right now. I am running hot. I need to go to a casino right now because I can't lose.
Yeah.
I got to convert this fortune with my sports teams into something monetary.
Also hot, C-Cat. Offenses in the NFL again. Look at that. Just give them some time, right? Give them a few weeks. Nobody's playing in the preseason anymore. The connection isn't as strong as it used to be back in the days. 2 weeks in, Mel Kiper was yelling from the mountaintops that we need to ban 2 deep safeties. You can't have 2 safeties more than 15 yards deep. We need to rethink the way that we structure NFL defenses. We need to be throwing flags and telling safeties to walk up into the box, or else we're not going to let the offense snap the ball. All of this crazy madness and the nonsense out there on ESPN. And then here we have it. 9 teams through NFL Week 6 so far, which we still have Monday Night Football tonight, Bills-Jets. 9 teams scored 30 or more points. There was a combined totals. If you add up both teams in each game, they've been averaging a tick under 50 points per game across the league in Week 6. And on top of that, we've had 8 quarterbacks throw for more than 250 yards. I would say, C-Cat, the offensive struggle and the problem with putting up points has ceased in the NFL.
This is a good order of events because, we're starving for football in early September and late August and those times. We'll take whatever football you'll give us. I don't care if the final score is 13-12. I'm going to watch every second of that damn game. Now we have a little more of a refined taste, so we want a little bit better football, more exciting football. It works out.
We do. And now that we also are yearning for it, we have been getting it delivered, and we hope that we get it delivered tonight. If you're an Eagles fan like my guy Noah, who hopped in the chat already, we're only a minute into the show. Noah's already begging us, begging and pleading for us not to rip on his guy, Nick Sirianni, for those Philadelphia Eagles who squoke, barely found a way to get past the Browns on Sunday. Of all of the great demonstrative wins we've seen, and we're going to be discussing that today. Today's major question, the topic we're throwing out there is, what was the most impressive win from this football weekend? Not just the NFL, but also college football. What was the most impressive win from the football weekend? His Eagles? The least impressive win I've seen all year, probably.
Yeah, you know what? I like Missouri's win over UMass, going into enemy territory in a middle school locker room and beating UMass over the Eagles' win over the Browns this weekend.
Yeah. Amherst not an easy place to play. My little sister actually went to UMass, and I've been in that stadium for her graduation. It's a nice stadium. Why does it get so much flack?
Well, for a Division I FBS college football team, it should be a little bit better. Listen, the recording of those Mizzou football players getting off their bus and into the locker room, it didn't look good.
I haven't seen the locker rooms. But the stadium was sufficient for a graduation. Again, congratulations, Brianna, on your degree. That was a few years back. Back to the topic, though, here. We are 1 game away from being done with Week 6 in the National Football League. We have the Bills and the Jets tonight on Monday Night Football. That should be a good showing. Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen. We'll give out later on my plays of the day on Prize Picks, so you can get involved in there and get some action in, because who doesn't like following up a nice football weekend with getting a win on Monday night? It feels good to load your pockets up on a Monday night.
Oh, my gosh. I've been cashing, making bank on Prize Picks on Sunday. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I was making money before the 1 o'clock slate started.
I try to tell y'all about Prize Picks, man. Number 1 daily fantasy. I'm not going to get into it right now. Number 1 daily fantasy in America. Promo code THEOD. Hop in there. You get a free $50. We'll talk about Prize Picks later when I give out my picks. I do want to get into the most impressive win, because if you played the more on many of the Texans players, which I did going into their game against the New England Patriots, you likely feel just as happy as C-Cat with all of his wins in his football and baseball, as well as his Prize Picks lineups, because those things cashed. The Texans marched into Foxboro and played a Patriots team that many would call, it's not that they're a good football team, but we've seen a good football team fall to them this year. And they had the new energy of a new quarterback in Drake May. They had a guy like Gerard Mayo who wanted to continue the legacy of not letting the Houston Texans win in New England. But C.J. Stroud, without his number one option in Nico Collins, marched into enemy territory and took down the Patriots 41-21. This was a game where I, with my own mouth and in our punchline picks, thought that, yes, the Texans would win it, but the Patriots would cover. And it was based on what I had seen from the Texans all throughout this year. They've not been in sync offensively. Defensively, they've given up a lot of points to some quarterbacks that you would call, middle of the pack, right? Like they gave up 27 to the Colts in week 1. In week 3 against the Vikings, they give up 34 to Sam Darnold. Remember that blowout loss against the Vikings, 34-7?
We thought the clock was going to strike midnight in the Vikings, and it did not.
They had a one-possession win over the Jaguars, which we saw from that London game. That team is demonstratively worse than what we even anticipated them to be coming into this year. And then again, they just got by a Bills team, which we've seen other contenders literally, smash on. We've seen other contenders literally take the Bills to the back shed if you see what the Ravens did to them. So for the Texans coming into this game on the road with the new energy of Drake May, who did look good, I anticipated the Patriots keeping this thing close. But the Texans had the most impressive win of this football weekend to me, because they did what contenders are supposed to do, and that's on the road against an inferior opponent. Also, without your number one option in Nico Collins on that offense, C.J. Stroud went in there and played a close to perfect enough game to get the win. Joe Mixon came back from injury and ran for over 100 yards, and they had a wire-to-wire dominant victory over the Patriots. It was never in question, and that is what fortifies to me that the Houston Texans, they might not be a team to play with. Like, we need to start taking them seriously. We need to start actually, again, recalibrating our thoughts on them. They stand now at 5-1 in an AFC that can be had. I know the Chiefs are still undefeated. I know that the Ravens are marching and they're going to be on their heels all year, but the Texans are in play for the number one seed in the AFC. And when you're winning games like that, games that you can see teams maybe looking ahead to a divisional game or underestimating and playing down to their opponents, when you see a dominant win like that, a 20-point win, a year from now when we look back on this season, it's going to be just a blip on the radar. Nobody's going to think about it, but it means something to me.
It was a statement win for sure, because I was tuning into ESPN 106.3 on Sunday morning to Sunday Huddle with Colin Russo and Cade Chumslin.
Yeah.
Cade Chumslin's a big Texans fan. And he was talking about how the 4-1 record the Texans had going into this game against the Patriots was a little bit phony, a little bit fluky. It was not telling the whole story, and how not as confident as he was going into the Patriots game. But you beat the Patriots by 20. I think it completely shifts the narrative. And you want to talk about tiers in the AFC?
Yeah.
Everybody and their mama knows the Chiefs are above everybody else. You can't have anyone in the conversation with the Chiefs just quite yet. And with how bad the Bills have looked coming into tonight's game, and with how good the Texans looked on Sunday, I think you slide the Texans up and you slide the Bills down, and now you have the Ravens and the Texans battling for that 2 spot in the AFC.
And that's exactly why that win was the most impressive win to me of the football weekend. Through college football, which was a delectable Saturday in college football, and in the National Football League between Thursday, Sunday's morning game in London with the Bears, who had a huge win. And then it rallied into a bunch of great football games we had all throughout yesterday. The Texans had the most impressive win to me, and it's because of the way that they did it against an inferior opponent. Again, right ahead of a game where, again, next week, you want to talk about a look ahead, the Texans are at Lambeau Field next week. If this was a team that lacked the focus of a serious contender, the Texans would have at least had a close game on the road at Foxboro. Instead, C.J. Stroud showed me something without his number one target in Nico Collins that I didn't see in them all throughout the season, is that they're not playing with their food. And if it's one thing I like about a contender is, or at least if it's one notch that puts teams over the hunch for me as a contender, it's teams that don't play with their food when they're playing against inferior talent, and that's what the Texans did. Who was the most impressive team in football this weekend? Which win was the most demonstrative or told you the most in the football weekend through college football and the National Football League? Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline, 888-760-3776, 888-760-3776. Hit us up. What was the most impressive win? Don't be lazy. Don't just hop on here and say it was your own favorite team. Which win really did turn the tide for you and make you feel differently about a football team than you did entering this weekend of football? Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline, 888-760-3776, 888-760-3776. And no, Noah, you will not escape today's show without us bashing Nick Sirianni because he deserves it. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. 888-760-3776. Who had the most impressive win this football season, this football weekend, and how was it not the Houston Texans who put on a display offensively and defensively that, though they still did leave the door open on the back end for Drake May to throw some impressive passes and show us that he is the guy that probably should have started earlier in this season and likely will be the answer to the question of who can finally be the heir apparent to Tom Brady in New England. They found their guy in Drake May, but the Texans didn't let that get in the way of a dominant win on the road. What did you think of Drake May, who to me, when you have a quarterback coming in devoid of talent around him, I mean, he's throwing to guys like Kayshon Boutte, DeMario Douglas, Hunter Henry. He's dumping it off to Antonio Gibson in the backfield. He doesn't have a real rushing threat because Ramondre Stevenson's not there. And still, he led them on some competent drives. 20 for 33, 243 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Somebody told me earlier in the office today, I think it was it you that told me the Drake May stat? CCat?
Yes, it was me.
I almost discredited you for it. I almost gave it to Brian McLovin-Rowitz. But, yeah, the Drake May stat you gave about air yards on a touchdown. What was that again?
Yes, so since Tom Brady left New England, 2020 on, for the New England Patriots, there have been 3 touchdown passes that have had 35 air yards. Just think of a quarterback throwing the football 35 yards or more. Only 3 of them. One of them came with Cam Newton. One of them came with Mac Jones. And the third was on Sunday, yesterday, with Drake May and his passing touchdown.
Most impressive of that is that Mac Jones actually had one. Yeah. Like, to who is the real question. Like, who was he throwing the ball 35-plus yards through the air to, who also came down with it and scored a touchdown? It must have been like an end-of-the-half Hail Mary.
You know, I don't want to bring this up because it's completely off track, but the lasting memory of Mac Jones to me will not be his London interception that he threw that pretty much lost him the job to Zappe. It will more likely be the Patriots' win in the windstorm against the Bills in primetime, where he had to maybe throw the football 4 times, I believe. He might have been 1 for 4.
It might have been worse. It might have been less than 4 times he threw the ball that game. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, Mac Jones sucks. We got someone on the line.
He might look, Mac Jones, though he stinks and he stunk it up, he might be the answer to another team's problem, Jacksonville. Well, technically in London right now. On Theoretically Speaking, right now on line 1, we have Devontae. Devontae's on Theoretically Speaking here on a magical Monday following a football weekend. Devontae, first off, how you feeling? I know you're a Falcons fan. How you feeling just watching a good weekend of football there?
I feel great. I feel great. You know, it feels good to see the Falcons living up to their potential.
Yeah, not 500 yards again from Kirk Cousins, but enough to get the win. For you, what was the most impressive win of this football weekend?
Man, I have to say Baltimore. After they lost against the Raiders, every single week they look way better. Every single week the team is getting better. But just, they went against a hot Washington team. Jaden Daniels, he's been going crazy. And I just feel like Washington is the team everyone's scared of. And they went there. Well, I mean, Washington came to them, but they handled business. They was in control of the whole game. I mean, when you was watching it just looked like Baltimore had the game wrapped up, period.
That's a good call. And I appreciate the call, Devontae. He's not wrong there. Like, I picked them in the punchline picks. I knew Baltimore would get the win. I knew they would cover. The only reason why this wasn't a more impressive win to me was because I thought the Ravens had a chance to really put it on the Commanders. Like, because it's no shade to Jaden Daniels. That Commanders defense can be had. And there were spots in which, of course, the Ravens were just kind of controlling the game and staying out front. But there were spots in which I was thinking, like, is this going to be the point? Are they going to flip it on his head right now? Like, is Lamar going to go on a drive that'll really put the nail in the coffin? And they never really did that, but they also never left the result in doubt. So, and it's an impressive win, yes. I still would say what the Texans did to the Patriots, a little more impressive. You're a Ravens fan as well, though, C-Cat. What did you take from that 30-23 win?
I saw more of the same in a good way, where other than Patrick Mahomes, I now feel like given a touchdown lead or even given a one-possession lead, give Lamar Jackson the football with 4 minutes and he will win that football game. I have the second most confidence in the NFL in a single quarterback to choke the life out of a clock and not give the football back to a dangerous offensive opponent. Because I didn't want Daniels to get the football back, not at all. And I knew Lamar Jackson was going to keep the football, grind the clock down, and he kept on scrambling, kept on getting a first down, did the job.
See, the thing about Lamar Jackson right now is this is a sneaky stat. Through these first 6 games, through the Ravens' first 6 games in which they're 4-2, Lamar Jackson's had 40 or more rushing yards in each of them. The last time Lamar Jackson went 6 straight games with 40 or more rushing yards in a season was that 2019 MVP season, his first full season starting with the Ravens when he was a demon rushing the ball. All of the attention has been focused on how well Derrick Henry has been moving the ball on the ground. By the way, 24 carries, $132 on the ground, a couple of tutties, just 2 tutties. He scored a touchdown in every single game, had a pair of them against the Commanders at home. Like, his rushing is, of course, going to be one of the more efficient years that Derrick Henry has had in his career because of Lamar and the weapons around him, and that offensive rushing attack makes it so much easier on Derrick Henry. But also, Derrick Henry is making it easier and easier on Lamar Jackson to just not that he's having these high watermark rushing games outside of the Chiefs game, which he had like $130.
Yeah,
I think that was a crazy one. Not that he needs to do all of that, but the floor for Lamar's rushing this year is so much higher, even juxtaposed to last year, because of the threat of number 22 in that backfield. I absolutely, as a Chiefs fan, I said this before the season. I said it even after the Chiefs beat the Ravens on opening night on Thursday Night Football, and I'll say it again. That is the one team I fear the most. Not just because of how strong, because that defense is a very opportunistic defense, even without Mike McDonald calling the plays there. Very opportunistic defense, a steady head coach. Like, Harbaugh's not a guy that I know you probably have your complaints. Everybody complains about their own head coach. What's your barometer on Harbaugh, though? Because outside looking in, he's a really good head coach. He's a guy you don't want to face.
He's the type of coach that finds any little loophole in the rule book to use to his own advantage, and sometimes he's too smart for his own good, where his mind works a mile a minute, and he'll think he'll hack the NFL, and he ends up being the dumbest guy in the room in that very moment. But he's kind of minimized the clock mistakes of past. I got not much to complain about with Jim Harbaugh.
See, he's a guy that, again, like, think about Nick Sirianni. You go into a playoff game going up against Nick Sirianni and the Eagles, you're like, well, yeah, we have the edge there.
Yeah.
Like, I feel, not only do I feel comfortable, I probably feel a little overconfident because of who the guy calling the shots for them. But again, Harbaugh's a steady guy. But then again, it's that backfield. It's Lamar Jackson and his ability to have like so many different answers, right? If you load up on the run, he's an accurate and efficient passer. Last night, 20 for 26, 323 yards. He knows how to move the ball through the air. He knows how to take his checkdowns more and more now. And, of course, the threat of his legs. He is the most prolific rushing quarterback in the history of the league. And then right next to him is King Henry, the most unstoppable force at running back that we've seen since like the likes of like Adrian Peterson in his prime. Like, it is absolutely scary what the Ravens have as a rushing attack, as an offense, as a total package. And that's why I say not the most impressive win. Give me the Texans win over the Patriots is the most impressive because they proved something to me that I didn't think beforehand, whereas the Ravens left a little bit of food on the plate. Could have had more of a happy plate. 888-760-3776. That's the number to Theoretically Speaking. That is the Baptist Health Hotline. What was the most impressive win from this football weekend? Not just college football, also the NFL. Joe is in Jupiter, and Joe is on Theoretically Speaking. Joe, I won't ask you about the Dallas Cowboys because obviously when you lose 47-9 at home, you don't have the most impressive win of the weekend. What team did stick out to you and impress you the most, though, Joe?
No, it's not the Cowboys. First, real quick, a big props to your radio station. I want to let you know, as I was taking my Cowboy flag down from our townhouse community here in Stuart, Florida, I know the neighbors across the street, they just moved in, and I've talked to the husband a few times, and the mother of the husband was out there in the parking lot, and she said, all of a sudden, Joe and Jupiter? I'm like,
wow.
Nobody calls me that. Nobody knows me as Joe and Jupiter except y'all. At 88 Jupiter Joe on Twitter.
All right.
And she's like, I was like, really?
Yo.
She said, yeah, my husband's been talking to you. He recognized the voice. He said, I just couldn't believe it. She said, you're famous. And I'm not asking to be famous, but that was wild. I'm telling you.
That's
she
incredible.
Said, he listens to the show every day. And I said, that's me. Yeah. That's
wow.
Me. They put 2 and 2 together because I knew I was a Cowboy fan. They see the flag. They see my stickers on the truck and all that stuff. Wow, that was pretty cool. I don't know.
We're making stars out here, C-Cat.
On that, Joe. So you said you're taking down your flag. Was it was it at half mast after that bludgeoning to the Lions at home on Jerry Jones' birthday, no less? After he got a birthday cake from the Fox NFL crew, is that why you were lowering the Cowboys flag?
There's no lowering it. It's just taking it completely off the pole and putting it up in the corner. Yeah. Yeah. But it's okay. It was dark by that time. Plus, I had to have it down because we were about 10 feet from those tornadoes the other day. But we're good. But,
okay.
I know I don't have a lot of time, but I will tell you, the Detroit Lions are no joke. Even with losing Hutchinson, which is a terrible injury, they are no joke. They can fly it all over the field. They got a lot of playmakers. They got 3 running backs better than anybody on our team. I'm telling you, Theo, I'm close to being over on the edge. I'm getting closer every day, every week. I mean, I'm telling you, just keep me from jumping.
I got you, Joe. We are right here for you.
There.
We are right here for you. And if there's any,
I'm about to become a Texans fan.
Whoa! Oh my goodness.
Get him off, C-Cat. Don't let him say anything else he will regret. Joe, I'm glad you're safe from the storm. I'm glad that Cowboys flag is tucked away in your garage somewhere. Wow. We got to clip that. He's about to be a Texans fan.
So there's a very important mental health hotline for people that have dark thoughts. There should be a less severe hotline for people that have dark thoughts about the sports teams they root for.
Yeah.
Like have someone there, the person of reason, who said, listen, think about 6 months from now. You'll be getting excited for the beginning of next season. Don't jump off entirely. Think about it. Don't think short term. Yes, that was an ugly loss in Jerry World on the national stage, the Fox game of the week, but think about it.
Yeah.
You have so many Cowboys jerseys. Think about your success in the previous millennium. Just think about that, Joe and Jupiter. Don't think about the continued postseason failures and the current regular season failures of your team. Don't lose your fandom because no one should drop their team and consider themselves a man. Right, Theo?
Yeah. Shut the hell up. Also, C-Cat, I had good reason. C-Cat, maybe you've just carved out a new job for yourself.
I think so.
Maybe that hotline is 888-760-3776, and you're the man for the job.
I think so. Not to make a mockery of real-world situations where you need that hotline in life, but there should be a mental health sports hotline.
And I'll be on the other side of it. I'll be the red devil on the other shoulder saying, yeah, get the hell out of there while you can. Get the hell out of there while you can, because every day, I tell you, I thank the lucky stars. I wake up in the morning, and I'm grateful to have my wife right next to me, and I'm also grateful that I dumped the terrible dumpster fire Panthers. Let's check out the score from them this weekend, 38-20. Lost to the Falcons at home. In our punchline picks, we need to just start lining up the Panthers as a lock every single week to not cover because the team sucks. There's no hope around that organization, and the only hope is that maybe, just maybe one day, either you get something in return for Bryce Young or he figures it out. But I don't think they have any hope of any of those two things happening. Joe mentioned the Lions as the most impressive win of the weekend, and that right there is a great segue. There's a reason why Joe and Jupiter is becoming a celebrity in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast. It's because the guy knows where to take the show. We're going to talk specifically about the Lions-Cowboys 47-9 win, the Lions dominating the Cowboys in that second slate in a game that felt like it would never end if you were a Dallas fan, but not in the way you would think. Who suffered the bigger loss yesterday between Aiden Hutchinson breaking his fibula, and by the way, they did say they gave an update on Aiden Hutchinson. I believe he did have a successful surgery. Obviously, he'll be out for the season, the star pass rusher for the Lions. Who suffered the bigger loss? Them losing their D-end, their star defensive player, the heart and soul of that defense, or the Cowboys who literally just lost their heart and soul at home? We'll talk about that on the other side. Plus, the Lions' big win sparked another interesting tale here. We have an NFC North right now that is not sitting pretty. They're sitting damn near pristine. The Vikings in first place at 5-0. The Lions in second place at 4-1. The Bears in third place coming off that Jaguars win at 4-2. And the Packers in the cellar of the division at, let me check, 4-2. That division is demonstrably better than any other division. 5 losses combined between the 4 teams. We have to figure out which team is actually going to be on the outside looking in come playoff time. That